I'm sorry? What's that?
50s commercial.
That's a 50s commercial, yeah. The Marlboro cigarettes, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. All right, Bobby, you're going to come up here pretty quick? Okay, so before you come up, so for everybody here, please sit with someone who will be your partner. You need a partner, no odd numbers here, so you need a partner. Here's this gentleman right behind you. Can be your partner. You two can be partners. Oh, he's your partner? Okay. And then those two are a partner. And then we'll find you a partner. He just came in. Okay, so we'll get you a partner. So you'll need a partner for tonight. Oh, we've got 5 here. So we got an odd number. Odd man out. You get to go over here. Odd man out. You get to partner with Pat. She's wonderful. I've known her for many years. All right, she's great. All right, so sit next to Pat. Okay, so you'll need a partner for tonight that you can tolerate for at least an hour and a half. Okay? All right, Bobby?
Those as they come in. Okay. All Noah's Ark, this group. All right. Before we get started, just wanted to say welcome on behalf of the Carmichael Seventh Adventist Church. We are really excited and thrilled with our partnership with Ruben, with Coach Ruben, who has been hosting these seminars. A lot of us have gained a lot of valuable information. The last session was weight loss, and Ruben knows that since meeting with him a handful of years ago, imagine me 80 pounds heavier is where I was, and maybe more. The last time I stepped on the scale was in the high 270s. I'm pretty sure it was above the 280s. The information is proven, it works, and it's fun if you take it from that approach. So tonight we're going to talk about stress management. I know I'm ready to go and hear more. I need more tips and techniques. We are at a church. If you're ever looking for a faith community, you're welcome. We meet every Sabbath morning, every Saturday morning at Sabbath schools. Bible study groups start at 9:30 and 10, and our worship starts at 11. So you're always welcome to join us. We would love to see you on any Sabbath morning. So I'm going to turn the time over to Ruben. Thank you, Ruben.
Thank you, Bobby. All right, thank you, Bobby. All right, great. And we'll have to set you up with a partner as soon as possible. We'll set you up with a partner as soon as possible. But we got a little bit of time before we start doing the partner work. So I had an epiphany. How many of you get those epiphanies like 3 o'clock in the morning? How many of you get those? That's when God speaks to you. Did you know that? Did you know that? Because that's when your subconscious is actually working while you're sleeping. And then you get those epiphanies like at 3 o'clock in the morning. And it's a good thing to do is have a notepad so you can actually write those things down. You'd be amazed how divine providence works at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's extraordinary. So I had an epiphany because I was thinking about what am I going to do for this particular seminar, because I was looking at some of the topics that I was not covering in this series, and I was looking at what I wanted to do to make a profound difference, because I'm passionately committed to eliminating chronic disease from the face of the planet and empowering every single person to live a thriving, healthy, happy life. And I've been working with some of my clients, and this conversation kept coming up. This conversation kept coming up about stress and fear and living in the past and living in the future. And I thought to myself, and I put that in my brain as I went to bed, and at 3 o'clock in the morning I had an epiphany. How I'm going to actually restructure this seminar tonight. So it's going to be different. It's not going to be a lot of information. I wanted to make this seminar tonight a powerful, life-changing experience. How many of you would like to have a life-changing experience that allows you to eliminate stress for the rest of your life? How many of you would like to be able to have that powerful, life-changing experience? That's what we're out to do tonight. Very powerful. So we're going to do partner work tonight. Later on, I'm going to give each of you a 3x5 card, and you'll get a pen if you don't have one. So let me tell you a little bit about my experience with stress. So what happened for me, I was 25 years old in medical school at UC Davis School of Medicine. At UC Davis, we were on the quarter system, so we had 10 weeks for every single topic instead of a full semester. Instead of 16 weeks, it was all crammed into 10. Now, every Monday was exam day for all our topics. So what do you think we did all weekend? I mean, all weekend. All weekend we studied. I don't know how many all-nighters I've done in my life. I don't have any idea. I've lost count. It was extraordinary how much work I put in. So one morning, it was a Sunday morning, 2 a.m., I'm studying cardiopathophysiology, the pathology of the heart. And I was studying hypertension. And I said to myself, you know what? I should check my blood pressure. Anybody here ever done that? You check your blood pressure at 2 o'clock in the morning? So I checked my blood pressure at 2 o'clock in the morning. Here's a nurse. 170 over 110. Did you see her expression? It shouldn't be so high. That's really dangerously high, isn't it? So I followed the protocol. I waited for 5 minutes. I took it again. 170 over 110. I followed the protocol again. I waited for 10 minutes. I took it again. I was in a lazy boy chair. And it was 170 over 110. Now, I was able to run up and down a basketball court without any problem. But the stress of staying up night after night, not getting very much sleep at all, that was causing a stress reaction in my body. Blood pressure is an indication of inflammation. Blood pressure is an indication of inflammation. So I realized I had a problem, and then I started to research this even more. So I found a book from Robert S. Elliott, MD, a cardiologist at the Oral Roberts University Medical Center, one of the finest cardiologists in the world. And he wrote a book called, Is It Worth Dying For? That's where you get the title for this, the subtitle for tonight's topic. Is it worth dying for? Because what happened to Dr. Elliott was he was in his mid-50s working so hard, day and night. And he didn't listen to his wife, who told him, slow down. You're going to end up with a heart attack. And he said, I have no risk factors for a heart attack. My weight's fine, my blood pressure's fine, my cholesterol's fine. I will not have a heart attack at all. Wrong. First mistake, he didn't listen to his wife because she knew he was working too hard. And his blood pressure increased. His adrenaline was high, his cortisol was high, and that's a recipe. We now know that's a recipe for causing the inflammation and the damage inside the arterial walls of our blood supply. And he had a heart attack. Shocked the living daylights out of him. And then he started to do the research because he was brought to his knees by the reality of having a heart attack and being a cardiologist. That's sobering. So he had to make some changes. I read his book and I realized I was what he called a hot reactor. A hot reactor. A hot reactor. Everybody with me on that? How many of you know that there are times when things happen? People say things, people do things, you do things, something happens, and you get triggered, and you become a hot reactor. How many of you know that you do that? Liars, raise your hands too. It happens, and we don't even realize what it's causing inside our body. So that was a real eye-opener for me. And I started learning about how to actually deal with my stress. Now, I got to a point when I actually created a whole seminar program for nurses. And I taught at Mercy San Juan, at Kaiser. It was a full 8-hour day. I don't have that much time today. So I thought to myself, how can I make tonight so powerful and so impactful in just an hour and a half? And this is what I came up with for tonight. So it's Stress Management 101. It's not worth dying for. And we're going to dive into this tonight. It's going to be a powerful experience. So by the time you get, so you're going to have to find a partner. Back there, we're going to get you a partner. Maybe it's going to be Bobby. Who knows? So Bobby will step in. But everybody's paired up really great. So I'm going to go through my introduction. How many of you have never been to one of my seminars here before? I know a few of you have not. Okay, very good. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So we've got some really great stuff. If you have not been in one of my seminars here, please be sure to make sure you fill out one of the yellow cards with your name, your phone number, and your email address, because then I'm going to send everybody a follow-up email. The rest of you should have checked in. So we got you checked in. We're really good. So let's dive in. Are you ready for a life-changing experience? Yes? Okay, good. So my education, I did my undergraduate at California Lutheran University in beautiful Thousand Oaks, Southern California. Worked in the hospital at the Los Robles Regional Medical Center for a couple of years while I studied to go to medical school. Off I went to UC Davis School of Medicine. My research was in the area of lifestyle and longevity. And that research led me into going off to UCLA. I took a break from medical school, got my master's in public health at UCLA, loved it so much, it was wonderful. And I realized after I got that done that I was passionate about promoting health and preventing disease, and I was no longer interested in treating disease. So I decided not to go back to medical school, but instead to pursue lifestyle medicine on my own. There was nothing called lifestyle medicine back then. But then in 2016, after all this research I'd been doing for many years, I discovered there's a new branch of the American Medical Association, a new specialty. So you've got the American College of Cardiology, the American College of Pediatrics, the American College of Orthopedics, and now there's the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. So lifestyle medicine is an evidence-based lifestyle therapeutic intervention, including a whole food, plant-predominant eating pattern, regular physical activity, restorative sleep, stress management, avoidance of risky substances, and positive social connection, and there's a few more things too. As a primary modality, we say do this first. Focus here first on changing the lifestyle that caused the chronic disease in the first place. Delivered by clinicians trained and certified in this specialty to prevent, treat, and often reverse chronic disease. Doesn't that make sense? It does. It does. And we show in the research we're far more effective than traditional medicine when it comes to chronic disease. Far more effective. So all of these areas are what I specialize in, all these 8 areas. So I've added 2 areas to that. One is hydration, and the other is happiness. Happiness, yes. There's a whole field called happiness psychology. It's wonderful. So all of these areas are what we focus on in lifestyle medicine, and there's even more. So lots of it is so important, and we're finding out more and more all the time. So lifestyle medicine, according to Dr. Wayne Dysinger, one of the founders, he said, lifestyle medicine is the foundation of healthcare because 80% of what we spend our time, money, and energy in healthcare today is dealing with chronic disease. Chronic disease. 80% of chronic disease is caused and influenced by lifestyle. We say 20% from genetics. In lifestyle medicine, we say genetics loads the gun, but lifestyle pulls the trigger. So you can have bad genes because that's what your genes are. You can't do anything about the genes, but your lifestyle can be dramatically different, and that can change. Now, the foundation ought to be, if the disease is caused by a lifestyle, the foundation ought to be a lifestyle treatment. And what we're doing in lifestyle is completely radically different than traditional medicine, and it works. So in October 2018, I'm very proud to say I got board certified as one of the first board certified lifestyle medicine clinicians in the world. And I'm so proud of that. It's amazing. It took me 30 years to find my tribe. I found them. And my certificate has the number 00081. That's my number. Today, there are over 6,600 clinicians that are board certified in lifestyle medicine. Yes. So I'm also a member of the Institute of Coaching out of Harvard. Many of us in lifestyle medicine, especially those of us who are coaches, are part of this. If you Google my name, yes, it's true. I wrote these 3 books in the world of swimming. Yes, I was a collegiate swimmer, and I coached swimming professionally. And I was asked by an Olympic swimming coach to write the first ever comprehensive drill book in the sport of swimming. It's been updated twice, and now it's the best-selling swimming drill book in the entire world. And it's been translated to 5 other languages, and it's sold 555 copies. Yes. So, and now I also wrote this book, Evolving Health, back in 2011, and it was endorsed by my very dear friend and mentor, Dr. Neil Barnard, who's the president of the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. And then this is the mock-up for the cover of my book to come out very, very soon, How to Fully Live, a transformational approach to creating a thriving, healthy, happy life. I want you to know all the revisions of the chapters are done. I am now in the next phase. I'm starting that next phase, and that is where I compare the edited version from the original version, and then I'm going to finalize the drafts. So I'm going to get that done within the next 2 weeks, which is very exciting. And then it's going to be, I send each chapter over to my son. My eldest son is going to do the layout and design, and then we should get this all ready, hopefully by the end of July. Yes. So I get to live into this quote that Thomas Edison said well over 100 years ago, that the doctor of the future will give no medicine, none whatsoever, but will instruct his patient in the care of the human frame, in diet, and in the cause and prevention of disease. Thomas Edison, he's not a doctor, but he said this over 100 years ago. This is what lifestyle medicine is doing today. And it's so exciting. So we're out to change medicine. And just to let you know, I have absolutely zero, zilch, nada, no conflicts of interest whatsoever. I have no products to sell you. I have no gimmicks, no schemes, no multi-level marketing antics, none of that. I'm here because I'm passionate about eliminating chronic disease from the face of the planet. And I feel that every single one of us as adults needs to be responsible for making the world a better place for our future posterity. I've got 4 sons, and I want the world to be better for them and for their children. So how many of you agree with me that we need to make the world a better place? Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So that's where I'm at. So I need your help. So that's why I'm here. So let me cover what we're going to go over tonight. I'm going to talk about the context and the framework for health. I'm going to do that fairly briefly. Some of you have heard this conversation, but it's so important, I'm going to spin it so that you understand the connection with stress. Secondly, we're going to have a conversation about beliefs. We're going to talk about what are beliefs and how do they influence us, because it's really a critical piece of what we're going to talk about tonight in terms of our stress. Very powerful to understand that. The third thing we're going to talk about is where are you living? We're going to have a very powerful conversation around that, and it's very insightful, and it'll help you to really look for yourself how you are living. And then we'll talk about creating a powerful new direction. We're going to do an incredible exercise. And you're going to love this exercise. We're going to have so much energy in this room. It's going to be amazing. It really will be. You're going to be blown away. You will love it. And then finally, I'll finish up with how you can actually make the rest of your life the best of your life and have a successful lifestyle change and have it stick for the rest of your life. All right, you ready? All right, let's go. So let's start with the context for health. And that begins with this quote that my dear, dear professor at California Lutheran University said many years ago. It was a comparative anatomy and physiology class. And one day he said, remember that all of life is in one of two states at any given moment. Either it is surviving or it is thriving, and that's all there is. And when he said that, it kind of shocked me. I didn't understand this at first. And I raised my hand and asked him questions, and he said, just sit with it, Ruben, you'll figure it out. I hated when he did that to me. So I sat with it, and I couldn't quite understand how it could be just one or the other. How could it be that life is either surviving or thriving? That's it. That's all there is. So 3 years later, I'm in medical school at UC Davis. And I'm taking the class called embryology. Now, I know you've taken it. But embryology is this amazing course. It's the study of the embryonic period of human development, which is from the moment of conception to the point where everything is there, it just gets bigger. So it's fully formed. So after that point, we call it a fetus. So the first part is an embryo. So the embryonic period pretty much corresponds with the first trimester. How many mothers here? How many of you remember your first trimester? How many fathers here? How many of you remember when she went through her first trimester? We do. I remember that. I mean, you want pickles and ice cream at 2 o'clock in the morning? Really? I mean, it did happen. That's true. So early on in our development, it's amazing what happens at this period of time. Early on in our development, we all look like this, a ball of cells, and you can't tell them apart. But eventually, this ball gets bigger and bigger and more cells. And then it starts to fold inward on it, and it forms the first organ system of the body to become distinguishable and operational. This is critically important when it comes to understanding stress. This is foundational. So this ball of cells starts to form this tube of cells called the neural tube. The neural tube is the first organ system in the body to become operational and distinguishable. It gives rise to what we call the limbic brain. The limbic brain is the core of your brain. It's not the outside. It's not the cortex. It's not where your thinking faculties are. It's your amygdala, your hippocampus, your hypothalamus, your pituitary, your pineal gland, all those central features, a whole bunch more. But that's sometimes what we refer to as the reptilian brain. How many of you have heard that term before? Reptilian brain or primal brain? It's the primal brain. It's very primal. And this limbic brain is connected to the entire spinal cord, which feeds the nervous electrical signals to every part of the body. Every part of the body. Now, the professor said this, and it got my attention. He said, once this goes in, this is the electrical system. This is the electrical system of the body. Just like any basic electrical system, you turn on the lights, you flip a switch and, lights. It's amazing, right? We're wired. We are all electrically wired by this central nervous system. This is very important to understand when it comes to our stress. And there's two currents, just like there is in any basic electrical system. Any electricians here? Any electrical people? Okay, you did that. So we have two currents. We have a positive current and a negative current. Positive and negative. The human body is exactly the same way. So the positive current is referred to as the parasympathetic state. The parasympathetic state, when we flip the switch and we're operating the parasympathetic state, we're going to operate that state, that current, for all the organ systems in the body, not just what's pictured here, and every cell in our body. The entire body will be in the parasympathetic state. Everybody with me on that? This is really important to understand. Our entire body switches over into the parasympathetic state. Now, the other current is the negative current, and that is the sympathetic branch of the central nervous system. So when this is on, then every organ system is going to be affected by being in the sympathetic state, and it will be in that state for all organs and every cell as well, in the polar opposite of the parasympathetic. These two currents are polar opposite of each other. This is very important. We're either an on or off. We're a positive or negative. We're a positive or negative, which is exactly the same thing that we saw in the wisdom of the ages that were portrayed in the yin and the yang symbol. That's what that yin and yang symbol is all about. So when we're in the sympathetic state, we are reacting to stress of any kind: physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual stress. Those are the four fundamental human energies. So it doesn't have to be just physical. You could be driving to work in the morning thinking, oh no, I have to deal with John this morning. Oh God. And that's enough to put you in the state of stress. That's enough to trigger being in the sympathetic state. And when we're in that state, the entire system is geared for survival. And it's a very primal system. We're not able to think very rationally. How many of you know when people are stressed, they make stupid mistakes? How many of you know that? Okay. Yeah, it happens all the time. It's what we do as human beings, especially teenagers, right? Absolutely. And even us, we do that. So we recognize the reactions of fight, flight, freeze, and fold, but even a perceived threat, like I mentioned before, can induce a fear. A fear is defined as a perceived threat. Keep that in mind, perceived threat. It's a perceived threat. It's not necessarily real, it's perceived. And that's enough to induce being in the sympathetic state. What we show in the research is very clear. The root of all chronic disease is being in the state of dis-ease far too much, far too often, and far too long. Far too much, far too often, and far too long. Whether it's heart disease, cancer, diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, osteoporosis, multiple sclerosis, the list goes on. All chronic disease, as Dr. Dean Ornish says, is the same disease. It just has different faces. This is the crux of it all. So what keeps us as human beings in this state? My good friend, Dr. Stephen Loam, he's a cardiologist and a lifestyle medicine physician. And he talks about there's 5 major factors that keep us sick in this United States. One is the state of stress. When we're in the state of stress, our brain is wired to seek pleasure, avoid pain, and conserve energy. Remember that, those 3. Seek pleasure, avoid pain, and conserve energy. You've had a hard day at work. You get home and you're exhausted, and you have no interest in cooking a healthy meal whatsoever. And you call up Domino's Pizza. And they come to the door with your pizza. And you grab the 6-pack of whatever. And you sit in front of the TV on the couch. And you Netflix and chill for the rest of the night. That's avoiding pain, seeking pleasure, and conserving energy. That's the American way. It happens far too much. Another thing that keeps us sick is our family pattern of lifestyle behaviors that we learn. The food industry, like Domino's, and do you think Domino's really has your health as their number 1 priority? I don't think so. The government also does not prioritize health. Does not. So we found out a lot about that during the pandemic. And then the other thing is the medical industry itself. Because one of the things that happens, who's the number one lobbyist group, do you know, in Washington, D.C.? Pharmaceutical industry. And guess what? The pharmaceutical industry is very much in partnership with I didn't bring it tonight, very much in partnership with the medical industry. Very much in partnership. So it's a very profit-driven system. And the government and the medical industry are in it together. So this is what keeps us sick, because we have all these things going against us. So anytime we experience a loss of vitality, energy, vigor, strength, power, connection, fulfillment, peace, or ease, consider that you're in a state of survival. Consider that you're in a state of survival. So question, what are some of the things that cause you stress? Raise your hand and then I'll call on you. Raise your hand. What are the things that cause you stress? Yes? Being late. Got it. Conflicting priorities. Lack of sleep. Job. Misunderstandings, absolutely. What else? There's at least 60 items. Come on. Kids, yes, thank you. What else? Family dynamics, yes. Spouse, yes. What else? Financial, what? Money, financial, yes, absolutely. What else? Illness, absolutely. Yes, what else? Jobs, absolutely. What else? What causes? What's that? The news, absolutely. Yes. Expectations, absolutely. So here's a few more suggestions. Okay? Worry, problems, debts, no time. How many of you are stressed by not having enough time? How many of you ever have that feeling, right? Okay, and then no sleep, we mentioned, family, all kinds of things. And recently, this list even got more magnified, didn't it? Okay, in the last few years, it's been more magnified. Politics, COVID, racism, economy, cash flow, isolation, fires, and health. I mean, there's so many things that contribute to us experiencing stress. These are things that we feel that cause us stress. Many things cause us stress. And there's an impact of this stress. When we feel this stress, there's an impact. How does it affect you? When you feel stressed, how does it affect you either physically, emotionally, mentally, or spiritually? What?
Takes your sleep away.
Takes your sleep away, absolutely. What else?
It really depends. Like I can say, oh, John, I can deal with John. Oh my God, they broke our lives, I'm going to die. So there's different levels of stress.
Absolutely, but what's the impact on you? What do you notice for you?
I go crazy.
You go crazy, got it. Okay, what else? Dick? Got it. Tension and the knot in your stomach. Yes, what else? Increased heart rate, absolutely. Physical, yes. Get lazy, absolutely. Spiritual, bad diet, yes, absolutely. What else? You cry, absolutely. Here's some more. Okay, how many of you experience these? Unhappiness, fear, poor self-esteem, negative thoughts, withdrawal, anger, confusion, frustration, distrust, stress, physical violence, depression, loneliness, avoidance, hostility, insecurity, physical violence. These are manifestations. This is what we do when we feel stressed. It impacts us in so many different ways, and each of us is different. Each of us is different. How many of you, like I know for me, when my father would raise his voice at me, this visceral feeling would come up through my body. And my neck would get so tight. and my gut would be in a knot. How many of you know what that's like? My dad was a rageaholic. And I had the brunt of his anger. So I got conditioned to feel that. And I started to understand there was a connection between that. There's a connection between how we experience stress and how we're able to function in life. In psychology, we have something called the stress performance curve. The stress performance curve is this. So on the y-axis is increasing performance. On the x-axis is increasing stress. Now, it's a bell-shaped curve, and this is what we generally see. If there is too little stress, you're chilling, you're zoning out, you're on the beach in Fiji, yes. All right, you're in what we call an underloan. You're inactive or laid back. How many of you love it when you're there? We mostly do. We love it sometimes. But for most of us, that we can't stay in that state all the time. We need to be functional. We need to be operating and doing things and making things happen in a very positive way. So there is an optimal level of stress. In psychology, we call this eustress, EU stress, EU stress. So that's the word, eustress, is EU stress. That means it's optimal stress, and we actually function very well. So that's a really nice place to be. You got just enough to take care of, and you are able to do it well, and you can still relax and recover. That's a very positive amount of stress. So that's where our performance is able to become very optimal. But there's a peak to how much stress we can handle before we start to experience negative consequences. And that is the top of the curve, where we start to feel fatigue or being tired. How many of you know what that's like? Oh my God, today was just a hard day. I had so much on my plate. I got a lot done, but that's fatigue. That's an indicator light. And a lot of times we push past that, or we do it again and again and again. So the problem with that is that if we continue pushing past fatigue, we enter into this stage, which is too much stress, or referred to as overload. This is common for most of us. Most of us live in overload far too much. And when we're in overload, we go back and forth between fatigue and exhaustion, fatigue and exhaustion, fatigue and exhaustion. Who can relate? Okay? Because that's something that happens. And by the way, when we're in that, a lot of times people start to have a breakdown in their immune system, and they start to experience something called chronic fatigue syndrome. That's what happens. So this is being in overload far too much. When it gets dangerously high in terms of stress, we start to go into the red zone. And this is where we start to see the symptoms of burnout. And it begins with the symptoms of anxiety, panic, and anger. Those are the signs that it's pushing way too much stress. That person's got too much stress going on. And if it continues, it can reach this level, which is near the tail, and this is very dangerous, and that's breakdown. So people sometimes experience a nervous breakdown, total breakdown. And it absolutely can change their personality. It changes their physiology. And they now are in a very dire situation where they absolutely have to go all the way back over here just to recover. This is what happened to my son number 3, Gabriel, being at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo during COVID. He's a social person. He needs to interact with people. And then he got into a situation where he was working very, very hard. And he was at an Italian restaurant, and he became a barkeep. And he started drinking and working late and not getting enough sleep. And the whole scenario of stress and trying to go to school and having alcohol and not getting enough sleep led to him getting into this area here. And then he was in a total breakdown. And this was 2 summers ago. And he ended up coming back home. I had to get him back home and actually had to recover him. And I had to get him to come all the way back here to start building him up. He was able to recover. It took 6 months. It took 6 months of hard work to be able to do that. And he was able to come back and be functional. And now he understands he's got to stay here. And he's doing really well. He got his degree from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo in business, specializing in real estate finance, passed his California real estate exam. He is now working in commercial real estate down in Los Angeles and Santa Monica, and he just closed his second deal. So he's doing well. Yes. So it's possible, but we got to recognize it when it's there. And I can tell you, my son was unrecognizable in this state. He was so manic. He was a completely different person. So I knew what was going on because of what he'd been going through. And this is what we had to address. So it was very powerful to understand this. Now, here's what I learned a long time ago. That any time we're in the state of stress, there are 2 critical factors going on. 1, it's what we perceive. What we perceive, it's how we see the situations, how we see the world, is how we see ourselves. It's our perceptions. Stress, anytime we feel stress, it's a function of what we perceive and how we react, which is our conditioning. We're all conditioned to react to what we perceive. Give you an example. If there was a tarantula appearing on that wall right there, some of you would freak out and leave the room because you would perceive a tarantula as a very dangerous threat. But those of us who have a science degree would realize a tarantula is one of the most peaceful spiders you could possibly imagine. Yes, it's big and hairy, but it's a biology experiment in my household. And I would save that tarantula and put it in a safe place and find a good home for it. The thing is, it's all about perception and reaction. And it's very important to understand this. We're all conditioned to perceive and react the way that we do. So trying to give a person a pill just because they have a fear of a tarantula is not going to help the situation. What we do in lifestyle medicine is swing the pendulum from being sympathetic to being in the parasympathetic more of the time. And when we do this, the body can heal. And we can actually start to change our perceptions and change our reactions when it comes to stress. So the 4 fundamental human energies, I mentioned them earlier, here they are. And this is nothing new. This is the wisdom of the ages. These 4 fundamental human energies are physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. All of them have to be balanced for us to experience well-being. All of them need to be balanced for us to experience well-being. Really important. So, wisdom of the ages. This is not me. I didn't make this up, but there's 5 major elements that can shift the state of the central nervous system that we're in. Number 1 is the thoughts that we think. Absolutely. If we have stinking thinking, as Zig Ziglar taught me a long time ago. He'd say stinking thinking. He'd say he was from Alabama. So if we have stinking thinking, then we're going to be in the sympathetic state. If we have negative, critical, cynical, skeptical thoughts, and we keep our thinking there. If we watch the news and we think all this negative stuff about all the things that are going on in the world that are negative, then we're going to have those negative thoughts. We'll be in the sympathetic state. If we practice what Norman Vincent Peale taught me a long time ago, which is the power of positive thinking. The power of positive thinking. How many of you make a conscious practice every single day to practice the power of positive thinking? Not many people do, but some do. And that's what we need to be able to do. Now, consistent with our thoughts are the words that we speak. The words that we speak out loud, and if we're gossiping, we're in the sympathetic. If we're complaining, we're in the sympathetic. Those things will trigger us being in the sympathetic right away. So what we have to do is make sure that our words are from the space of truth and love. And we speak no ill. So we choose our words meticulously and impeccably. The third is the actions that we take. And what we're talking about here is that actions speak louder than words, don't they? So when we make a promise to ourselves and to others and we don't keep it, and we let ourselves off the hook, I got reasons. We let ourselves off the hook, we put ourselves in the sympathetic state that quick. You say to yourself, I'm going to be at the gym at 5:30 in the morning on Monday morning. And you hit the snooze button instead, you're in the sympathetic state for the rest of the day. So we have to be able to live a life of integrity. A life of integrity. The fourth is the company that we keep. We've shown in the research a long time ago that you are the average of the 5 people you most associate with. But Dr. Christakis at Harvard actually showed it's even more significant than that. We are impacted in our lives not only by our first circle of relationships and friends and family members, but we're also impacted by their friends, the second circle. And we're even impacted by the friends of their friends, the third circle, many of which you have never met. And this is surprising. It's very surprising. So the research is unbelievable. It's amazing. And it's very difficult to follow. So I will not ask you to read his book because it's absolutely nerd level at this level. The fifth thing that influences our central nervous system that we fail to often think about is the food that we eat. Yeah. Everything affects our central nervous system. Everything. So it turns out that processed food, what do you think? Sympathetic or parasympathetic? Sympathetic. Meat, dairy, and eggs? Sympathetic or parasympathetic? Sympathetic. Refined sugar? Sympathetic. Alcohol? Sympathetic. So the food that we eat can either induce a sympathetic or parasympathetic response in our bodies. What's that? Which makes us sick as well. It continues to influence that inflammation. So in lifestyle medicine, these are the 8 areas that I work on helping everybody balance. All 8 areas, I mentioned this before. So it's about all of this. The purpose of lifestyle medicine is not to treat symptoms to cure your symptoms. The purpose of lifestyle medicine is to empower you to build resilience. To build resilience. Resilience is defined in psychology as the capacity to prepare for disruptions, recover from shocks and stresses, and adapt and grow from a disruptive experience. How many of you figured out that life is not perfect? So it's not about being perfect. It's about being able to have resilience and make that progress. And the stronger we are in our resilience, the better that we can navigate those disruptions. That's what we need to be able to build. So tonight is going to focus on the most significant factor of building resilience is right here, is our mindset. And being able to do that. If we actually have a stronger mind, then we can actually build greater resilience and everything else will follow. Trust me, it will. It absolutely will. So I believe that Virgil was correct 2,000 years ago when he said the greatest wealth that anyone can have is their health. I believe that's to be true. The predicament that we're in this world that we live in, is that so many people focus on making money as being more important than their health, as the Dalai Lama said. And then what man does is he then sacrifices money to try in a desperate attempt to recuperate his health. And then he is so anxious about the future that he does not enjoy the present at all. The result being that he does not live in the present or the future. He lives as if he is never going to die, and then dies having never really lived. And this is sobering, and it's also true. So true. It happens far too many times. So the reason we get into this predicament is because of our beliefs. We believe that money is more important than our health. We believe that other things are more important than our health. We believe that other people are more important than our health. And we put ourselves last. How many of you know that? You've done that. I've been there myself. I know. I took care of everybody else except for one person. Me. And I went down that deep, dark hole for 4 years. I know what that's like. That's when I was 55 pounds heavier than you see me today. So the reason yes?
I think one of the issues as Christian people, how many off years, but from the time we're little children, we learn, Jesus is first, everybody else is next,
Right.
and we're last.
Right.
Bottom line is, if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody else.
Absolutely true. And I had the same experience growing up in Catholic parochial school and Catholic high school, but Catholic high school actually illuminated something for me. So what helped me, and I want to speak to this for a second because it's very powerful, what helped jolt my mindset around what I was conditioned to believe, because I had that same ideology, that same theology, what jolted me was becoming a lifeguard. I was 15. So I learned something. The most important rule for every lifeguard, and everybody here knows it. How many here have ever been on an airplane? They remind you of it all the time. So the first rule of the lifeguard is put the mask on yourself first. Save yourself first before helping somebody else. You're no good if you're dead. And in lifeguard training, we learned how to escape from being gripped and held, because a double drowning doesn't work. And so we have to reverse that thinking so that we can actually prioritize ourselves, because we're no good to anybody else if we're not able to take care of ourselves. And that's what we have to start teaching people. So beliefs, and this corresponds with what we're talking about. So beliefs are things that we learn. We're conditioned to believe what we believe. So beliefs in psychology are defined as thoughts trusted to be true. They are simply strongly held opinions. They are not necessarily the truth. Okay, case in point. 1,200 years ago, if you were living in Italy, in Europe, and if you believed that the earth was a sphere like Galileo did, they would imprison you. Why? They believed that the earth was flat and that it was absolutely blasphemous to believe otherwise. Because the Holy Roman Church had sanctified this belief that the earth was flat. And then when Christopher Columbus went sailing west, they thought he was going to fall off the edge of the earth. And then he came back. And it kind of started to change people's beliefs. So the thing is about it, we're all conditioned to believe what we believe. All of us. I'll prove it right now. So I want you to complete this jingle, especially those of you who are with me for the first time. You never heard this one before. All right, so complete this jingle. Plop, plop, fizz, fizz. Okay, that ad hasn't played in over 50 years. Okay? 50 years! That got drummed into your head. Advertisers know what they've been doing. They've been doing this for over 100 years. They know exactly how to condition your beliefs with repetition and with beautiful emotion. They do it really well. So here are actual ads that people believed. Nico Time cigarettes, the smooth taste pregnant mothers crave. Wow, actual ads. No flies on me thanks to DDT. How about this one? The first product of the Bayer Aspirin Company, heroin hydrochloride for your headaches. Yes, it was legal and it worked. Yes, and then this one, let this magic mineral asbestos protect the buildings on your farm. Should we always believe the marketing? Probably never. Probably never. So consider, my friends, we have all been duped, hoodwinked, bamboozled, and deceived in our lives. Every single one of us, myself included, every single one of us. We've all been conditioned to believe what we believe. So the invitation for you tonight is not to make yourself bad or wrong. There's nothing wrong for any of us. Just simply do one thing, and that is this: question your beliefs. Question your beliefs. Question them. As one of my favorite teachers of all time taught me well, you must unlearn what you have learned. So we need to be able to think again, think differently, think newly. This is a wonderful recent book by Dr. Adam Grant, brilliant psychologist, and he talks about how we need to be flexible in how we think and how we actually process information and start to think like a scientist and test the hypotheses of our beliefs. Test our beliefs. Test them. And it's very powerful to be able to adopt that kind of way of thinking. If we do this, we start to realize something very powerful. And that is this. And I believe this to be the case, that we are not victims. We do not need to choose being a victim. We are not victims. We are the creators of our lives. And we want our children to be the creators of their lives, don't we? We want them. We want them to be self-sufficient, independent, responsible, powerful human beings that go off and do great things. Well, you know what? We are too. We are the creators of our lives. If we put stress in our lives, unwittingly, unintentionally, then we end up manifesting disease. If we remove stress from our lives, well, then we can actually remove disease. How many of you get this now? You get an opportunity. Can you see the light? If we start to actually look at how our beliefs are actually conditioning us to manifest disease. So what we need to be able to do is take a bold stand for ourselves. A bold stand. So everybody needs to stand up right now. Stand up. You're going to do a little exercise right now. So this is a bold stand. You take a stand. You are the creator of your life. As a result, I learned this from a preacher, John Maxwell. Anybody hear of John Maxwell before? Powerful teacher. And he says the moment of an adult's maturity comes when you can actually state this statement. And I'm going to say it out loud right now, and then we're all going to say it together. I am completely responsible for my health, my happiness, and my life. All together now, I am completely responsible for my health, my happiness, and my life. Again, I am completely responsible for my health, my happiness, and my life. One more time. I am completely responsible for my health, my happiness, and my life. And now high five your partner. High five your partner. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Have a seat. Have a seat. Now, this is the beginning of being able to transform your life. This powerful statement right here is the beginning of being able to transform your life. I am completely responsible for my health, my happiness, and my life. Because once you say this, you have no exit clauses. You have no one to blame. You have nowhere else to go. It's all on you. One of my favorite teachers, Gary John Bishop, and I love what he says here. This is a very powerful statement. Consider for a moment that up to this moment in your life, you have had the life that you have been willing to put up with. This changes tonight. This changes tonight. How many are ready to make this change tonight? You're ready to make a commitment to change that. Your life has been what you've been willing to put up with, and that's over. Your past is done. That's what I had to do. I had to do this in 1995. I had to realize I had the life that I was willing to put up with, and I said, no more, I'm done. I am done being overweight, being sick, having high blood pressure, high blood sugar, and high cholesterol. I'm done. I'm done. One of my teachers, Yogananda, he wrote this in 1946. Right, 1946, millions of people never analyze themselves. They never do. Mentally, they are mechanical products of the factory of their environment, preoccupied with breakfast, lunch, and dinner, working and sleeping, and going here and there to be entertained. They don't know what or why they are seeking, nor why they never realize complete happiness and lasting satisfaction. By evading self-analysis, people go on being robots, conditioned by their environment. True self-analysis is the greatest art of progress. I'll say that once again. True self-analysis is the greatest art of progress. So we're going to do some deep work tonight. Deep work. Dr. Bruce Lipton says that the Matrix movies, how many of you have seen the Matrix movies? Wonderful movies. He says the Matrix movies are not science fiction. They are a documentary. Because most people, most of the time, are living in the Matrix. They're just going on day after day, and they're caught up looking at their phones all day long. They're doing this. I worked with a client in San Francisco, and I didn't see eye contact with people. I'd walk for a mile and a half. I would see two people look at me in their eyes. The rest were in their phones. That's where they were. So we've got to get that we are living in a world where so many people are living in the Matrix. So now I have a question for you. I want you to do some deep thinking here. How did you get to be the person that you are today? What shaped you? What influenced you? What molded you? What affected you being the person that you are today? Raise your hands and then I'll call on you. Yes.
My mother.
Your mother, yes.
Overcoming problems.
Overcoming problems, yes. What else? Keep it coming. Your father, great. There's over 60 items. Keep it coming. What's that? School, absolutely. What else? Fear of the future, yes. What else? The Bible, yes. What else? Someone that believed in you, yes. Yes. Him, okay, your husband, yes. Wonderful, Ted. Okay, what else? What influenced you? Personal choices, yes. What else? Other people, absolutely. What else? Accidents, yes. What else? Yes. Job market, yes. What else? Culture, yes. What else? Advertising, yes. Love of breathing? Yeah, because I learned so much through reading. Reading, love of reading. Got it. Okay, yes. Overcoming a chronic illness, yes. What else? Finding out what doesn't work. Okay. Realizing what's important. How many of you have been influenced by heartaches? Being embarrassed, being humiliated. Okay. Okay. All kinds of things influence us. So if we put all of that together, wrap all that, put a bow on it, in terms of time, where does all that come from? In terms of who you are right now in the present moment, what shaped you in the present moment comes from the past. Absolutely. It's logical. It's logical to assess that, right? That who you are today in the present moment was shaped, influenced by your past experiences, everything that happened in your past. Okay? So I'm going to use this chair to signify something very important here. Okay. So I'm standing here in my present. So what shaped me, what molded me, what influenced me was everything that happened in my past. Sister Mary Lenore embarrassed me in first grade. That influenced me. Okay? I said these famous words. How many of you have ever said these famous words? I'll never do that again. How many of you have ever said that? Okay? We've all said that. Okay, now here's the problem. We're not strictly influenced by what happened in our past. Because if that were the case, the past is in the past, there's nothing we can do to change the past, therefore, there's nothing you can change to who you are today in the present. It's a logical statement, but it doesn't sit well. So here's what happens. As human beings, we don't leave what happened in the past in the past. No, not in our backpack. It's worse than that. It's worse than that. Okay, so we relocate, so we make a decision. I'll never do that again. Where do we put that decision? In the present or the future? Put it all the way out here. In our future. We relocate that decision from our past out here into our future in preparation of any circumstance happening that will be remotely similar to what happened that got us humiliated, hurt, or whatever the case may be. And then we go around meeting somebody. You got embarrassed, you got heartbroken. You got heartbroken. How many of you have been heartbroken? I'll never do that again. And we put that decision down in front. And we go around trying to meet somebody new for the first time. Hi, my name's Ruben. I'm a really nice guy. You should date me. And we think it's all baggage behind us. Think again. Think again. So what we do is we take the decisions from our past and we relocate them all the way out here in the future. And then eventually this future looks exactly like our past. How many of you know people like they are so predictable? How many of you know people like that? We are as human beings because that's what we do. And we bypass living in the present. And what we tend to do is go back and forth between living in the past, living in the future. Living in the past, living in the future. Living in the past, living in the future. So now I want you to do an inventory. Where are you living most of the time? I want you to notice, pay attention for yourself. This is for you. If you notice, anytime you notice that you're experiencing guilt, shame, regret, you are living in the past. Anytime you notice that you're feeling sad or depressed, you are living in the past. Anytime you notice that you're dwelling on what happened, you are living in the past. Anytime you are replaying the events of what occurred and what the conversations were, what was said, what happened, you're replaying that over and over and over and over in your mind, you are living in the past. Anytime you notice that you're caught up in the paralysis of analysis and you're overanalyzing, you are living in the past. And what we tend to do as human beings, we go back and forth between living in the past and living in the future. If you experience a fear of the unknown, uncertainty, you are living in the future. If you are worrying about what could happen or what should happen, you're living in the future. If you're feeling anxious about what is to come, apprehension, anxiety, you're living in the future. If you're overthinking what if scenarios, you're living in the future. If you're thinking about the worst case scenario over and over again, you're living in the future. The challenge, my friends, is this. We tend to live too much in the past and the future. And when we're doing this, we're living in a state of fear, and we're in the sympathetic state. For us to actually be in the parasympathetic state, we have to practice being present. Now, I'm not saying to ignore the past. Learn from the past. I'm not saying to not prepare for the future. Absolutely prepare for the future. But predominantly spend your time here being present. And if you experience clarity of yourself, like you have a sense of purpose and direction in your life, then you're being present. If you have a sense of acceptance of yourself and others, then you're being present. If you experience a joy of being a human being, just being a human being instead of a human doing, then you're in the present. If you seek understanding instead of being understood, as Dr. Stephen Covey taught me a long time ago, seek first to understand, then to be understood. But if you seek understanding, you're present. If you experience inner peace and calm, that is real success in life. That's being present. And if you practice being grateful for everything, you're living in the present. So your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to assess how much of your time in the course of the day are you living in the past, the future, or the present. I have worked with many of my clients. I have one of my clients who's a brilliant graduate student working on her PhD, overwhelming anxiety. And she's working on this right now. She's tracking how often she's in the past, the present, or the future. And the first week that she did this, she was shocked because she came to realize she's been living in the future far too much and a lot in the past. The reason we do this is because of our fears. Remember, fears are beliefs. Fears are beliefs. Fears are beliefs. We're conditioned to believe what we believe. And fear is a conditioned belief. We're conditioned to be afraid. We're conditioned to be afraid. Researchers showed that about 95% of all the things that we're afraid of can't even possibly happen, and 5% that does happen can't do anything about it anyway. So there's no sense. There's no sense. So remember, some people, by the way, there are still people that still believe that the earth is flat. Have you met any? I have. Extraordinary. Let me tell you, extraordinary. Do not try to convince somebody who believes that the earth is flat that it's not. Don't go there. Don't go there, okay? Now, here are the major fears that we experience as human beings. Okay. So I'm going to give you a card right now. Now, this card is a 3x5 card. Take one and pass it down. 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 There you go. I got one. Take one and pass it down. This card, I'm going to give you specific instructions. Everybody got a partner? That's fine. You got it. Just set them aside. I'll pick them up later. If there are extras, just set them aside. Now, if you need a pen, who needs a pen? Who needs a pen? Okay, pass it down. Be prepared. Two pens. Who needs a pen? Who needs a pen? Okay, one, two, three. There you go. One more pen here. Okay, one more pen. There. You 12 needs a pen. Okay. Does anybody else need a pen? One more? Okay, good. Everybody got it? Okay, so now, here's what you're going to do. Very powerful exercise. Now, in the top left-hand corner of the card, The side that's lined, put your name. Just in case you leave this behind. Just put your first name. Just put your first name. That's all. Okay? Now, on the upper right hand, in the middle of the card on the top, you're going to put fears. No ink? Here, new pen. There you go. Keep working it. They're brand new pens. I just bought them. Where'd I put them? Here. Who needs a replacement? Okay. I got plenty. Keep working it. Just take. Okay, keep working it. Keep working it. Will it to write. They're brand new pens. They are. I just got them at Staples 2 hours ago. One more? Stubborn? Okay. I'm going to turn them upside down. I don't know. They should be working. Keep working it. If you want, I'll pull one out of my own personal collection. I know they work. Okay, so at the top, in the middle, I want you to put the word fears. Okay, fears. Now, you're going to do an inventory. Here are some of the major fears. I'm going to talk about this. Here are some of the major fears that develop early in our lives, in our childhood. One is the fear of rejection. We hate to be excluded and not be included. We hate being rejected from our parents and from our loved ones and from our peers. Another fear is the fear of failure. We hate to disappoint our parents. We hate looking bad and not looking good. Another fear is the fear of success. We're afraid of being successful because if we become successful, we won't get to play. And then we have a fear of the unknown. We're afraid of stepping into uncharted territory. So we keep asking, well, what about this? What about that? Another fear is the fear of being uncomfortable. So we're afraid of stepping into uncomfortable situations out of our comfort zone. Okay, so we get very attached to feeling good. Another fear is the fear of pain. We've been hurt before, and we don't want to get hurt again. Another fear is the fear of loss, because we've lost people that we love, things that we love, and we don't want to keep losing out on them. And then another fear, a major fear, is the fear of responsibility. We're afraid of taking on complete responsibility for ourselves or even for others. So that's a very significant fear. So if there's any of these that resonate with your inner child, whenever you feel stress, if any of these are going on, anytime you notice stress in your life, write them down. Write them down. Just write them down. Don't overthink it. Don't overanalyze it. Just write it down. What's that? In the middle. Anywhere on the card. Just write them down. Now, I've also got another slide for you. So leave some room. If any of these are still at play in your life today, it's still at play in your life today, write these down. If you notice for yourself that you have a fear of speaking up or not speaking up, of being rejected socially, of being rejected professionally, not being noticed, a fear of being noticed, a fear of saying the wrong thing, a fear of showing weakness, a fear of trusting others, of building meaningful relationships or being alone, of being unloved, a fear of showing strength, a fear of doing things differently or taking risks, a fear of losing control, a fear of being in control, a fear of being shouted at or being dominated by others, a fear of shining too bright, a fear of showing others up. Write it down. Write it down. Don't overthink it. Don't overanalyze it. If any of these are still at play in your life today, write them down. This is powerful for you to look at for yourself. I'll give you a second here to write anything down. Yeah, right now. Take a look at your life right now. Well, then write down the ones that are the most significant. Pick one or two. By the way, you're going to get all the slides, so you'll be able to come back to this later. So pick the one or two that are the most significant. Okay? All right. Just anywhere on that card. You just put the fears down. That's on that side of the card. All right.
I think sometimes they're not fears, but they're concerns.
Sure. Well, that's the same. That's the same. Yeah. All right. So now, here's what I learned from Carl Jung, one of the fathers of modern psychology. And he said this: where your fear is, there your task is. Where your fear is, there your task is. So quickly, 30 seconds either way, share with your partner what your major fears are. What are your major fears that you notice that come up for you when you're feeling stressed? Go ahead. Go. 30 seconds either way. Be sure to switch if you haven't done so already. Okay. So let's stop here. Please thank your partner for sharing. Thank your partner for sharing. And then high five your partner and tell your partner, you've got issues. You've got issues. You've got issues. We all do, okay? We all do. It's nothing personal. Now, here's the thing to get. Here's the thing to get. We are all conditioned to believe what we believe. We're all conditioned to have the fears that we have. And we hold on to these fears. And when we're holding on to these fears, these cause us to suffer. They cause us to suffer. Now, one of my favorite teachers, Dan Millman, who wrote The Peaceful Warrior and a few other books, I love this quote: life is not suffering. It's not meant to be suffering at all. It's just that you will suffer it rather than enjoy it until you let go of your mind's attachments to what you think should or should not be, and your fears and your concerns, and just go for the ride freely, no matter what happens. Sobering and very powerful to really get this. It's so powerful when we start to realize this monkey mind of ours, or ego, is one of my favorite teachers. He's a minister, and he says the acronym for ego is edging God out. Isn't that good? I like that one. Who likes that one? Ego, the acronym for ego is edging God out. And so we get caught up in our ego with our attachments, and we get caught up and we believing our beliefs and our thoughts. One of my favorite teachers, Byron Katie, I love what she says here. I discovered that when I believed my thoughts, I suffered. But that when I didn't believe them, I didn't suffer. Oh. And that this is true for every human being. Freedom is as simple as that. I found a joy within me that has never disappeared, not for a single moment. That joy is in everyone always. Who wants that? Who wants that? Because this is what I had to learn. I had to learn because my father triggered me all the time. And what I'm going to share with you next is what got me to free up my mind. And my father got angry at me in 2006, and that visceral feeling that I mentioned earlier was gone. And it's been gone ever since. How many of you'd like to have that freedom? Like, no more. No more. It's gone. So we can't do the same things over and over again expecting different results. That's the definition of insanity. So we need a radical, different approach. I turned to Einstein, and he said this, that significant problems we face cannot be solved at the same level of thinking we were at when we created them. So how do we change our fears and our thoughts that keep us attached and suffering? How do we do that? One of my favorite teachers, Tony Robbins. How many of you have ever heard of him? So one of the things I learned from him is that we need to install new beliefs. Yes, thank you. Install new beliefs. Now, how do we do that? Did anybody get a course in school, in high school or in college, on how to install new beliefs? I didn't get that, but I've learned along the way. I go back to Einstein again, a powerful, powerful quote from him. How we can install new beliefs. And I turn to the Bible when Jesus said, "Be ye like the little children." Remember that one? So Einstein said this, imagination is more important than knowledge. For knowledge is limited to all we now know and understand, while imagination embraces the entire world and all there ever will be to know and understand. Imagination is everything. It is the preview of life's coming attractions. Wow. Wow. What's that? He was so smart. You want to know somebody who really took this to heart? Who read this and said, yes, Walt Disney. Yeah. Well, just goes to prove everybody's got their strengths, right? Everybody does. So here's what we're going to do. Flip the card over. Flip the card over. Flip the card over to the other side of the card. No. You flip the card over. I did not say give it to somebody else. No, flip the card over. At the top of the card, write the word possibilities. Okay? Now, keep that card that side up. We're now going to do an exercise in imagination. And I dressed for the occasion. So what you're going to do is you're going to imagine that you are in a completely amazing, beautiful, serene place called Liberation Island. Liberation Island. This is a magical place. And I want you to imagine that you're here. This is your island. This is your beach. This is your palm tree. This is your hammock. And in your hammock, you've got your sunglasses. You also have a notebook and a pen. This is all for you. So I'm going to take you through a guided visualization exercise. Now, I've coached athletes for a long period of time, and I got to tell you, visualization is powerful when it comes to performance. Absolutely powerful. So just relax. Make sure you're seated properly. I want you to just close your eyes and breathe slowly and calmly. I want you to imagine yourself being on this beautiful, amazing beach. It's warm. The water's warm. It is so peaceful. The water's just gently lapping onto the shore. I want you to just breathe with me. In the moment, I'm going to take you through a breathing exercise. So I want you to, on the count of 3, everybody inhale. 1, 2, 3. Inhale. And slowly exhale. And slowly inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Now continue breathing in that nice, slow pattern. Very calm, very relaxed. And I want you to imagine that you are now sitting in this hammock. And it's just so relaxing. It's just a beautiful day. The weather is perfect. It's just wonderful. And you're in this hammock on this magical island. And as you're laying there and you're just enjoying the beautiful surroundings, a wonderful person comes and approaches you. This person is your wiser, elder self. It's you. 10 years in the future. It's your wiser, elder self. It is you. And this person is coming to pay you a special visit. This person has some words of wisdom to impart to you. So your wiser elder self approaches you to tell you that in this magical place, your fears are gone. They no longer have a hold on you. They are no longer real. They no longer have a grip on you. You are free from those fears. And now your wiser elder self says, in this place, you can be your best self ever. You can start a new chapter in your life. You can begin a new chapter in your life by being and becoming the best person you could imagine ever being. So imagine now that you are actually being the best version of yourself imaginable. And as you start to imagine this, your wiser elder self says, now that you can start to see yourself being an incredible human being, free of your fears, and free to realize every dream you've ever dreamed of, write down who you are. And here are some prompts for you. So you want to imagine yourself writing these words. I am, don't do anything right now, just imagine this. I am, I feel, ... I think, ... I am willing to be, ... And so in your mind's eye, you can see yourself now writing in your journal who you can create yourself to be. You are the creator of your life, and you can create a whole new chapter of your life starting right here, right now. So write those words down in your mind's eye. And when you have finished writing those words down in your mind's eye, then open your eyes and write them down on the card in front of you whenever you're ready. And the prompts are up here. So write down what is there. Anything is possible. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Imagination is the preview of life's coming attractions. Who can you be? Write those words down. Who can you create yourself to be? Maybe it's I am peaceful, I am happy, I am fit, I am healthy. Could be all kinds of words. I'm going to give you some extra words that you can steal from. Okay, so here's some extra words to choose from. If you want some powerful words to steal from, if any of these words resonate with you, steal them. Steal them. You got from anything from active to zany. Okay? And then you've got happy, healthy, wealthy, secure, worthy, positive, blessed, grateful, beautiful, confident, courageous, excited about today, I'm loved. Got a whole bunch of words that you could steal. Anything, if anything inspires you, write it down. Write it down. Whatever's there. And here's another slide, even more words for you. Just one more slide. If any of these resonate with you, steal it. Steal it. It's perfectly fine. Or adapt it. Whatever's there, write it down. I have a lot to offer. I'll get through this. Whatever the case may be, write it down. Whatever inspires you. You're in Liberation Island where all your dreams come true. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. Okay? So now we're going to use this information and take the next step. Here's the next step in the process. Again, I go back to Einstein and his wisdom. And he said this, that everything is energy. And every one of us is energy. Everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy. This is physics. This is physics. And it's so powerful to understand this. Every single one of us has vibrational energy inside of us. Every cell, every atom. We're all vibrating. Every single one of us. It's amazing. In physics, you can do this. You can take two tuning forks. They're C tuning forks. You strike one of the tuning forks. You only strike one of the tuning forks, but the other tuning fork is right next to it. What happens to the other tuning fork? It starts vibrating in the same frequency. The same is true for us. Every single one of us have frequencies that vibrate, and we resonate with people, we resonate with things, we resonate with all kinds of things. We are energy transmitters and receivers. And here's the reality from Earl Nightingale years ago, that whatever we plant in our subconscious mind and nourish with two things. These are two requirements, repetition and emotion, repetition and emotion, repetition and emotion. And this is not a mystery. But if we do this with repetition and emotion, it will absolutely one day become a new reality for us. This is no mystery. It's no mystery. You already know this. You just don't practice it. How many of you are parents? How many of you have been to athletic events for your children? How many of you yelled and screamed and cheered? How many of you know that your children performed better when you were there? That's cheering. Cheering raises the vibration, raises the frequency. How many of you know what the home court advantage is? You've been an athlete and you know it for yourself. How many of you know what that is? Absolutely powerful, isn't it? It's no mystery. It's no mystery. How many of you cheer for yourselves every single day? Starting today, you will. Starting today, you will. So, everybody stand up with your card that says possibilities. Pick one of the statements on your card. Pick one of the statements on your card. Now, what you're going to do is face your partner. Okay? You're going to face your partner. And this is how it's going to work. Let's see. Ted, can I borrow you for a second? Come up here. You have your card with you? Okay, very good. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what you're going to do. It's very, very brief, very simple, very easy. So I'm going to ask a question. Ted, who are you? And you're going to read one of your statements.
I am that I am.
Yes, you are. And then you're going to ask me, who am I?
Who are you?
Ruben, no, you say, Ruben, who are you?
Ruben, who are you?
I am love, leadership, and vitality. And you say, yes, you are. And we're going to high five each other. Okay, with enthusiasm, all right? And then we keep going back and forth. Okay, who are you? They say their affirmation statement, one statement. Yes, you are. You affirm that. And then they're going to ask, and they're going to flip it. Who are you? You state your affirmation statement. They say, yes, you are. And then you high five. Everybody got it? Simple? Okay, it's not that hard. Simple, okay? All right, with enthusiasm. So this is going to get noisy. Let it rip. Let it rip. Loud and proud. Ready? Go. 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 You got 2 minutes. Keep it up. Loud. Keep it going, keep it going. Louder. Keep it going, keep it going. What? Okay, well, don't tell me the story. Keep it going, keep it going. Keep it going. Keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. Keep it going. Who are you? Keep it going. 15 more seconds. Keep it going, keep it going. Okay. All right, stop. Okay, stay standing. Thank your partner for sharing. High five your partner and tell your partner, you are amazing. You are amazing. Yes, you are. All right, have a seat. Very good. Okay. Woo! How did that feel? It feels good. It feels interesting, yes. How did that feel? Positive, yeah, absolutely. What else? Energizing, yes, absolutely. What else? You're in the right place. Yeah, you are. Like marriage counseling, but only better. Only better, yes. I mean, think about it for a second. How many of us love being affirmed by somebody else and told that, yes, you are a wonderful, amazing human being? It feels so good. We don't get that nurturing, do we? We don't. And we need to be able to do it for ourselves first and foremost. If you're with your partner, please do this exercise at home. It is powerful to do. It will bring you closer together than you've ever imagined. I promise you. It absolutely will. Most of us don't cheer for ourselves, and we need other people to help us to cheer for ourselves. So your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to commit, no kidding, to stating your affirmation statements, preferably with somebody else, as often as possible. My minimum is 30 times a day. That's not much. It's not much. Some people think, oh my God, I can't possibly do that. No, it's not much. It'll take you 2 minutes, okay? It really will. It doesn't take long at all. A homeless woman was given a free ticket to a Dr. Wayne Dyer seminar in Sacramento years ago. And she went to that seminar with her daughter, her little daughter, and she learned the power of affirmation statements, which I just guided you through. 2 years later, I was at Dr. Wayne Dyer's seminar when he returned to Sacramento. And he brought a woman up on stage. It turned out it was the same woman who was a homeless woman 2 years before. She was finely dressed, very exquisitely dressed. And she was the owner of a real estate brokerage firm, massively successful. And Dr. Wayne Dyer asked her, how did she change her mindset? And she stated, I deserve to live an extraordinary life for myself and my daughter. I deserve to live an extraordinary life for myself and my daughter. I deserve to live an extraordinary life for myself and my daughter. And she said that 1,000 times a day. Mindset is everything. It is absolutely everything. So don't think 30 times is a lot. It's not. It's not. How many of you want massive change in your life? Commit to it. Commit to it. And realize this. As Lao Tzu said, if you are depressed, you are living in the past. He said this over 2,000 years ago. If you are anxious, you are living in the future. If you are at peace, you are living in the present. And when you start saying your affirmation statements, you get to be present. And what happens is this. I love what Dr. Joe Dispenza, how many of you know who Dr. Joe Dispenza is? Wonderful teacher. And he said this, that where you place your attention is where you place your energy. If all your attention is in the present moment, you've got a lot of energy to create with. Think about it. It makes a huge difference. It really does. Some of the greatest minds, they spent their time being present just to be able to do that. Okay, so most of you have been through the rest. How do you make the rest of your life the best of your life? I'm just going to zip through this. I'm just going to tell you that I'm going to be doing this is my 4-point plan to actually transforming your life. So this is my book. I gave you a slice tonight. I gave you a slice of being able to do the work from within because it affects everything. If we do the work from inside, it absolutely changes every aspect of your life. So after Labor Day, I've already been doing the planning. I'm going to have by the way, I'll have my book out by the end of August. And then I'm going to have my 12-week lifestyle medicine immersion program coming out. And I'm going to tell you more about that later. But I just wanted to let you know it's going to happen. And it's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting because it's an opportunity to completely transform your life. So any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Oh, well, let me give you the final slides. Okay, I love this. From Marie Curie. You know who she was? How many of you do not know who she was? You don't know about her. You need to know. This is an extraordinary woman. Absolutely extraordinary. Nobel Prize in chemistry in 1906. And again, a Nobel Prize in physics. No, it was in physics first and then chemistry second in 1911. Extraordinary woman. It's amazing. I love what she said. Nothing in life is to be feared. It is only to be understood. Oh. Now is the time to understand more so that we may fear less. Isn't that great? It's a powerful statement. And I love this one. Don't cry over your past. It's gone. Don't stress about the future. It hasn't arrived. Live in the present and make it beautiful. And one of my favorite things, I have this hanging up in my office. I read this every day, The Way of Zen. It's a really good set of reminders of how to approach life to really stay in the present. Do one thing at a time. Do things slowly and mindfully. Connect deeply with people and nature. Meditate frequently, and I include prayer in that, okay? Appreciate silence. Expect nothing. Be grateful for everything. That means complain about nothing also. Observe without judgment. Consume less. Create more. Let go of fears and desires. Listen to understand, not to respond. Be patient and generous. Love deeply. Live simply. So, whew, I'm sorry? You're going to get a link. You filled out the yellow card, or did you check in from before? You've been here before, right? You checked it. Okay, good. All right. You will get an email, and in that email will be a link near the top of the email with a link to all the slides from tonight. You're going to get it. And then you can print out any of the slides you want. Questions, anything. Yes.
You said when you were talking about the two systems,
Yes.
when you were talking about the parasympathetic system
Yes.
and the sympathetic, you said if you do something in the morning like hit the snooze button when you intended to go to the gym,
Yes.
that you would be in that sympathetic system
Yes.
all day. But you didn't really mean next 12 hours, because don't we move back and forth constantly between those two systems?
So I'm going to ask you a question. How many of you know for yourself that when you let yourself off the hook on a promise that you made to yourself, that it's sitting in the back of your head for a long time thereafter? How many of you know that? Okay, a lot of hands are up. But everybody's different. Okay, everybody's different. I learned a long time ago how powerful it is to actually pursue living a life of integrity. Like if I let myself off the hook, I take that seriously. I take it seriously, yeah. You've got, you need to come to my class because I'll talk about rationalization and justification, and we do it so well. Okay, a lot of us do that. We let ourselves off the hook and we come up with reasons and explanations, and then we just dismiss it. Oh yeah, we will. Yeah, we do, but it'll be in the back of our head. Oh, you know what happened yesterday? Are you going to do it again? There's a little monkey that sits on our shoulder. I forgot to bring my monkey today. They've seen my monkey. Because I have this little stuffed monkey. It's a Curious George monkey. And the thing is, we have a monkey mind, and so we play games with the monkey. We do that all the time. Okay, question here, then there, then there. Okay.
How do you integrate that with autonomy? Like, okay, I'm in a how do you integrate that with autonomy? Like, I'm in a program, but 7 out of 8 things I embrace, 1 out of 8, I'm like, nope, I'm not doing that. It's not me. I'm not doing that. So all of what you're saying.
Well, you have choices, and you have consequences for every one of your choices. So then sometimes you have to take a real hard, honest look at yourself and say, okay, why did I promise this if I'm not going to do it? Then don't promise it. Yeah, so that's... Yeah, and then, so, I mean, one of the things that I do as a practice, just to let you know, I learned this a long time ago, so I have wonderful, wonderful teachers. So one of the Zen practices that I learned is to prioritize my top 3 priorities every single day. The 3 most important tasks for me to get done every single day. And then what I do is I plan my schedule, so I have my appointments preset, but then I plan when I'm actually going to accomplish those 3 most important tasks. I get those 3 done, and then I pick the next 3. So that's how I go about it, and it's 3 at a time. That works really well because then our brain is actually handling it very well. Okay, it's prioritizing. Okay, here and then there.
What I find is I have 2 brains.
We do.
I've got my intellect and my subconscious.
Yeah.
My intellect speaks to me in English, or in French sometimes, but my subconscious speaks to me in emotions. And sometimes when I looked at myself, even when the emotion may come out and try to put me in the sympathetic mode, but I don't connect to it. I just let it pass so that I can stay in the present. But, it doesn't matter that the subconscious really is awake all the time. It knows exactly what's good for you and what's bad for you. And it's going to let you know, like a parent, what you're doing that. And it will place that emotion that will eat at you slowly.
Right. And so the subconscious is wired emotionally, and we tend to make decisions based on our emotions. How many of you know that people buy emotionally, they don't buy rationally? How many of you know that? How many people know that people buy, they make purchases emotionally based rather than rationally based most of the time? Salesmen know this all the time. Okay, question back here.
Okay, this is just a little boring technical question. I'm having a hard time keeping straight sympathetic and parasympathetic because I know that the word sympathetic sounds good, and that sounds like that should be the good side. Is there a trick that you use, or I just need to work on that some more? I really keep getting them mixed up.
It's easy to get that mixed up. A lot of people do, and it's the sympathetic branch of the central nervous system is what keeps us in the state of survival. So SSS, sympathetic state of survival. Okay, so that can help you. Okay, very good. Question here, then there.
It is 8:31, so let's go with these 2 questions.
These 2 questions here.
And then
I, as an adult, am a sleepwalker.
Okay.
What causes this to happen when you're asleep and you go out and you do what you don't even know if you have any clothes on or not?
Right, yeah. I can't answer that question because that's not my basket. So there's something going on in terms of your brain, and that your brain is at the subconscious level enabling you to actually get up and walk. And it's a subconscious process that's happening. The subconscious is the same as hypnosis. So what happens is that when we're asleep, the subconscious is still working, and sometimes there has been hypnotic programming. So I would recommend that you actually work with a hypnotherapist to see if that could actually help you to stop your sleepwalking. That would be the only solution that I could see to help you with that. Try it out. Question back here.
Mine wasn't a question, but it is a little bit of that word game trick for parasympathetic and sympathetic, is I now have learned I want to be a paratrooper.
There you go.
I want to jump out with my parachute.
And you want to be a peaceful parasympathetic.
That's it. Thank you, Ruben.
Peaceful parasympathetic. So in medical school, we learned all these different tricks to be able to remember words. The state of survival for sympathetic and the peaceful parasympathetic. So that's how you do it. Okay.
So
I will stay.
yes, as always, Ruben will stay as long as you need him to for individual questions or group questions.
Yes.
But we'll go ahead and break and let those of you.
But one final thing. So the next seminar is going to be June 11th. So it's in 3 weeks. 3 weeks, right? So that's in 3 weeks. Make sure everyone is here. It's on preventing Alzheimer's. And by the way, there's an epidemic happening in terms of Alzheimer's. No kidding. It's absolutely a serious situation. It's happening all over. And we've got more and more statistics on how many people are being diagnosed with Alzheimer's and what's going on. And I'm going to share with you exciting research that was conducted by Dr. Dean Ornish. There was actually a documentary that was done, and it showcased his study. It was a 5-year study that actually showed tremendous reversal of cognitive decline, and it was amazing. And I've actually been doing that with several people, so it's been amazing, and I'm going to share that with you. So make sure everybody's here, because we know the process of Alzheimer's starts as early as your 20s. So if you know anyone over the age of 20, they should be here, okay? Anyone over the age of 20. Okay, great.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Let me leave you with a blessing. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord be with you as you walk away from fear and live in his peace. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, thank you. All right, thank you.
Brother, receive it. Thank you.